Hello, I am your host, Beth Allen, DIY expert, educator, and contractor. We are nailing homeownership with humor and heart, SNL style today. It's time for coffee talk. So grab your cuppa, whether it's coffee, tea, whatever floats your boat. I'll give you the topic. It's caulking. Do you caulk the base of the toilet or not? Discuss. Okay, now, I have to be honest, my DIY skills are way better than my impersonation of Mike Myers as Linda Richman on SNL. But live from WWDB, it's the Empowered Homeowner Show. And today we are talking about caulking. So with all of the jokes aside, caulking is just one of those home tasks that people really need to know how to do. And it is very DIY doable. But you need to know where to start when you're doing that project. So I want to talk about what goes where, why we even caulk, and what are some of the tips and tricks so that you don't make a total mess of your tub, your shower, or even the base of the toilet if you decide to caulk there. But I need to start by talking about 500,000 views. Yes, 500,000 views is what I have on one of my videos on YouTube. And that video is how to open a tube of caulk. It's a little crazy. And when I filmed that video, I was short on ideas one day and said, why don't I show people how to do this? And it has become such a hit. And I get messages constantly, literally daily, from homeowners who are like, thank you for showing me how to do that. I did not know how to do it. Last time I caulked, it all blew out the bottom of the caulk tube. I made a total mess. One lady wrote to me from France that she was so grateful that I was able to show her how to open the tube. It does come back to the basics when we are doing DIY projects. So before we dive into the actually opening a tube of caulk, I want to discuss the why, the where, the what, because that's really important. So we're going to have a little masterclass on caulking today. But I want to be sure that you do check out all the videos of caulking on the YouTube channel. And that handle is DIYHIPChicks. So let's chat about why we caulk. And I use the acronym, of PAWS. I'm a dog lover, so PAWS sticks in my head. We've got pests, we have air, we have water, and we have seams. So PAWS. When we have pests getting into our house, it's very likely that they can get in because we have tiny, tiny cracks, small enough for the ants to, come 2 by 2 into our home, the millipedes, centipedes, all of those things. It doesn't take much to get critters into our space. And then we have air. If you feel, see, hear air leaks, you are losing money. You might as well be putting your dollar bills under the door. Caulking is important. The tub, the shower. This is what we think most of when we talk about caulking. But if you are not on top of the caulking in your tub and your shower in particular, you are risking major damage to your house, because when the water seeps behind those seams, you are facing rot, mold, and structural damage over time. So it's really important that you are addressing the plumbing and bathroom caulk projects. And then we have the seams. And when I say seams, I mean the gaps and cracks wherever your trim work meets your walls. So door frames, window frames, baseboards, chair rails, wherever those things meet your drywall, you need to have a bead of caulk. One, it keeps out drafts, it keeps out bugs, and also it looks finished. So painter's caulk will be your friend and making everything look nice and pretty, because we want to say no to crack that we see around those elements in our house. There's always that conversation of where do we caulk? And I highlighted a few places, but let's get more specific about where we put caulk. I want to start in the bathroom. And that always leads to a conversation about grout versus caulk. And what is the difference between the two elements, and why do we have one versus the other? Now, the grout is what is between the tiles on the flat surface, whether it's the wall of the shower or the floor of the bathroom. Grout is cement-based. It is bleachable. It is scrubbable. And it can last for decades. There are some floors, obviously, that have been there for 50, 60 years, showers that have been there that long. The grout is meant to last a long time. Then we have the caulk. And the caulk is that bead of a flexible compound that is at the 90-degree joints, those perpendicular joints. So where the tub wall meets the edge of the tub, or where the tub meets the floor. And it could also be your countertop in your kitchen. But caulk is flexible. It's got a little stretch and give to it. It is not very cleanable or bleachable. And it's only going to last a few years. You can get a tube of caulk that says 10 years. I never buy that it's going to last you 10. Maybe it'll last 7 before it has to be replaced. So it's important that you know that difference between your grout and your caulk before you dive into your projects. I will be very honest with you that the caulk gun is the better way to apply your caulking. If you try to buy that handheld tube and you're trying to squeeze that little tube and get it to go into the right crevice, control how much flow you have, it is so much harder with the handheld tube. Imagine taking that tube of toothpaste and you're trying to smear it, into the crack of the bathroom. It's not going to work so well. Use a caulk gun and a 10-ounce tube of caulk, and you'll have much better control for any of your caulking projects. Plus, when you use that 10-ounce tube, you get a lot more options. There are more varieties in terms of colors and material, whether you're using indoor or outdoor. We have to talk about the caulk gun. What makes a good caulk gun a good caulk gun? Well, I love having a caulk gun that has the cutting tool built right in. This is one of those that has the blade right inside the handle. So you can literally take the tip, the nozzle, place it in here, and clip the tip right on the tool. Now, if I'm doing a more precise caulking job like the bathtub, I will use a razor blade and cut it on a nice angle to get a better tip. But if I'm maybe just using this to put adhesive on the back of, panels or something, I'm not as particular. So look for one that does have that cutting blade right in your handle. The other thing that you want to look for on your caulk gun is a spike tool. Most of them should have that spike tool built right in, and that allows you to pierce the nozzle of your caulk gun of your caulk tube very easily. And you're not running around trying to find a long nail that you can use as a spike tool. So for $7, you can grab one at the home center that has those two basic features. When it comes time to open that tube, it's so simple. You're going to use the razor blade or the cutting tool on board of your gun, cut that nozzle. You're going to then spike with your spike tool, because at the base of your nozzle is a foil seal. Think of your ketchup bottle. You're not going to take the ketchup out of the fridge and squeeze the heck out of it without taking off the foil seal. So in your caulk tubes, there is typically a seal at the base of the nozzle. Not all brands have it, but how do you know? Just assume that it's there. So you're going to cut the tip, either with the gun or a nice razor blade cut. You're going to pierce and spike the nozzle at the base, and then you can load it into your gun and begin your caulk projects. It is very easy to do. And once your caulk is loaded into the gun, you are ready to get those projects done. But where do we put caulk? Where are those locations in the house that we're going to put it? And what are the questions we want to ask ourselves before we get started? So before you get started and you make that purchase, let's talk about what is the need you have. Is it interior? Is it exterior? Is it paintable or not? Is it a fast dry? Or does it need a few days to cure? If you want to shower the next morning and you only have one bathroom, so you want to look for a fast drying caulk, and it'll say right on the tube, shower ready in 30 minutes. Now, I would give it more than 30 minutes to set, but look for those that are fast drying. And then the colors. One of the biggest mistakes that homeowners make is they buy the wrong color caulk for the project. If you have a white bathroom, you don't want to be using almond or biscuit colored caulk. So buy the right one for the project because it's supposed to blend into the landscape of your room and serve as a function. It's not supposed to jump out at you. So that's important. And then waterproofing. Is the purpose of this caulk project to seal out water? In the bathtub, we want to make sure that the water is not getting behind the tiles into the wall. So we are sealing water out from the walls. We also have to think about temperature tolerance. If you live in the Philadelphia area, then we've got all the temperature ranges. We can have 5 degrees in the winter and we can have 100 degrees in the summer. So if you are doing exterior grade caulking, you have to make sure that the temperature range for that product will meet what you have here. Now, if you're in Arizona, obviously you're going to have a lot of high heat days, so your range is going to be different. It's important to read the directions and also the warranty information. Now, like I said before, they might say you've got, 10-year warranty. I have never seen a caulking product last as long as it says. Mold and mildew happen. There will be cracking. There can be some separation over time. Plan on giving yourself a couple years less than that warranty before you are ready to redo it. So that's why you do want to buy the one that has the 7 to 10 year warranty. Spend an extra $2 and get the better product that will last you longer. Now, when I say read all the directions, that's what I literally mean. And if you're a little older like I am and you need your glasses, you need to read the directions. It has tips here on not only the application instructions. Should you do this in the rain? What is the minimum temperature or the maximum temperature, not only for its use, but for when you actually apply the product? So here it says you want to apply when it is above 40 degrees. So if you're looking to seal up windows and you've waited until January, you're behind the 8 ball. Read these directions ahead of time and plan. And don't forget, you can always take your cell phone and take a picture of the directions and then blow them up if you can't read them as well. We have to talk about the kinds of caulk because you might, like I said, think bathtubs, right? You're thinking showers. But there are so many different products, and some are very specialized products that you can use around the house that will help you with the paws, right? With the pests, the air, the water, and the seams. So painter's caulk is my favorite for the interior look. If you have ever done any light carpentry around your house, maybe you've put on baseboards or you've done some trim work, you know that you never get a perfect seam because the walls may not be straight, the drywall may not be perfectly flush to that baseboard. And what do you do to fill in those cracks? That is where painter's caulk comes into play. It is a latex-based, typically white, but paintable, and it is not waterproof. But it will fill the gaps so that everything looks seamless and professional. Now, here's a really important tip about your windows when it comes to painter's caulk. When builders put your house together, they will often caulk the two sides of your windows because that's where people see. It's eye-catching. But they often neglect to caulk the top of your windowsill. Your window frame. So if you got on your step stool or your ladder and you looked at the top trim around your windows, there is often a gap. And if you got on your knees and looked at the underside of your windowsill, there is often a gap between the trim work and the wall. And that is where all the bugs are getting in. You want to look for ants? I'm telling you, look at some of the trim around your windows or your doors to see the little critters coming in and out. Perfect place for painter's caulk. when we talk about window and door caulk, we can talk about the inside, and in that case, you could use that painter's caulk. But on the outside, you want to be using exterior grade caulk that is element ready for the rain and the temperature changes. So those, you want to look for one that's siliconized, meaning it has silicone for waterproofing. And does it match the exterior? Some folks have darker window trim, or they have a brick facade or stone. You want to be looking for those exterior caulks that are in the right color to match that door trim and window trim so that it blends in. Again, caulk is not meant to contrast, it's meant to blend in and hide. Now, back to the bathroom. When we talk about getting the proper bathroom caulk, we're talking about your tubs and your showers. We need maximum waterproofing. So you want a caulk that is highly siliconized and, again, color, and look for one that is shower ready. Some of them may say they take 2 or 3 days to fully cure or set and be ready. If you only have one bathroom, well, that's going to hold you up. If you want to go for one that has a few days to cure, then maybe you'll do one shower on one weekend, and then a following weekend you'll do the other shower so that you're giving them adequate time and you can still shower. Now, for gutter caulk, we don't think about this as a product we might turn to, but sometimes you could spring a leak in a gutter. Maybe there's a little crack and you have water pouring out where you don't want it. We always want the gutters to be flowing out to the side of our house and into our downspouts. Gutter caulk is available. It's typically clear. And read the directions on that and check the weather forecast so you have enough time for it to dry and set before the next rain. But here's the thing with that gutter caulk is, how do you know you need it if you don't go outside and check in the rain? So I challenge you in the next rainstorm, grab an umbrella and go outside and see, are my gutters performing properly? Do I have leaks along the run? Most of us have seamless gutters, so we won't typically see a drip along a long run across the front or the back of the house. But it could be that you have a seamed section or the crack. But again, you don't notice it when it's dry. So go outside with your umbrella. I talked a little bit about gaps and cracks around your baseboards to the walls. But there are those occasions where we have gaps and cracks in our flooring. And I'm talking about hardwood, whether it's hardwood, engineered, laminate, or even vinyl flooring. There could be little gaps or cracks where a floorboard didn't come perfectly together or butts up to a piece of trim. There are flooring caulk products out there. They're in the flooring section, and they come in all of the brown and gray tones so that they will blend in with the flooring and hide any imperfections, whether you DIY'd or maybe your installer missed a little spot. Then there is a specialty caulk that I love to tell people about because they don't often know that it exists. It is called grout caulk. It's a hybrid. It is a caulk product that has grout material mixed in. So it is textured and gritty. And it is ideal for those spots in your house where you have tiles that aren't bright white or bright almond, okay? You've got the earthy brown or gray tiles that you don't want to have a shiny, bright caulk for your weatherproofing. So the grout caulk is actually in the tile department. So wander back to the tile section. Perhaps you have a beautiful backsplash and your granite countertop. Well, you don't want a bright white, caulk at that 90-degree point. Look for the grout caulk, and it's probably in a nice like 7 to 12 range of colors. So you can find just the right one to match your design. Some people have said to me, does this have to be a DIY job? Do I have to do this caulk project in my bathtub on my own? No, you can hire someone to recaulk your bathtub. And I did a little research on the going rate in the Philadelphia area. You can hire a company to come in and caulk your bathtub. $250 per tub. That's a lot of money. $250. And if you have two, they don't give you a discount. They're not going to tell you $400 for 2 tubs. It was still $200 per tub. Now, I think this is DIY doable. Now, I do value the pros. I've gone in and done such services for people, and I know it takes my time and I have to show up and I have a skill set. But for some people, it's just not in the pocketbook for them to pay that kind of money. So for you, I want you to think about the $15 tube of caulk, and you can get this done on your own. When it comes to, doing this project, I realize some of you are going to be afraid. You're not ready to hire that pro for $250, but you're not so sure that you can do this on your own. I want you to practice. And this is a takeaway tip right here. You get a pizza box and you practice your caulking on the lid of a pizza box. It is nice and low and shallow, and it gives you a great space for you to practice that 90-degree angle. So you can get in there with your caulking tools and learn. Do you want to pull the caulk on? Do you want to push the caulk on forward? And you can play with the different tools until you've really mastered it, long before you ever get near that tub. All right? Get a pizza box and you will be so happy that you gave that some practice. Now, before we dive into some more areas around the house where we can caulk, I know we think of the bathroom as our place to caulk. Let's hear a word from our sponsors. Dreaming of transforming your space into something new and fresh? With LBK Design, you work with a family-owned business with over 10 years of experience servicing the Bucks and Montgomery County area. They are dedicated to making every client feel like you are the only client. With one expert team, your space is crafted with care and tailored to your style and budget. Relax and enjoy your custom designed space, knowing your home will be treated like it is their own. Call them at 215-675-5000 for your free estimate. With LBK, dream it, build it, love it. Here's a word from our sponsor, the Shower Head Store. Replacing your shower head is a very DIY doable project. And I'm glad I added this rain shower head to my morning routine. Crafted with premium chrome, this rain shower head not only adds a touch of elegance to your bathroom, but it delivers durability and a stunning shine. I love the Hammerhead dual shower with a 72-inch hose. It is perfect for washing you, the dog, and the shower itself. It comes in a variety of colors and styles, so check them out at theshowerheadstore.com. So back to some of those spaces in our house that we need to put our caulking. Now, yes, we've talked about bathtubs, showers, sinks, toilets. Some people like to caulk the base of the toilet, and honestly, I think that's a personal decision. I don't like to caulk it, but here's this little skinny on that. If you caulk the base of your toilet, make sure that, one, you are doing it very neatly. Make sure that you are using the proper color, either the color of the toilet or the color of the floor, because you don't want it to, again, jump out. Some folks like to caulk it because it looks clean and it can seal out odors and it prevents, stuff from getting underneath the toilet. But I like to leave it uncaulked because I want to smell anything that's going on. So if there's a break in the gasket or the wax seal underneath the toilet and there's sewer odors, I want to know it because I know it needs attention. And I also don't want to caulk the toilet because then I have to replace that again in a few years and it creates more tasks. So that's a very individual decision if you want to caulk the toilet or not. Now, I do want you to go outside and look around your house for the utility lines that are coming in, because that is a great opportunity for critters to get into your house. The space where your electric, your water, your gas, all of those lines enter your home, whether it's through the siding, the stucco, the brick, there are small gaps and cracks. And if you're not caulking those areas, that's how things are getting into your house. So field trip, go outside on a nice day and take a look at those things, and then you can prepare to caulk them. There is a list of things that I don't want you to caulk, and this is very important. We have weep holes in our windowsills. And a weep hole is like a coin slot in our window that faces the outside of our house. And that is in case rain comes into our screen and the water sits in the sill and it can drain out. So if you caulk those weep holes, the water will end up coming into the house and then you'll have damage into your drywall or plaster. So do not caulk your weep holes. On the underside of vinyl siding, there are little tiny drain holes as well for any moisture that gets behind the siding panels. Don't caulk those holes. Bricks. If you look at your brick facade, you might notice that there's little gaps and cracks. And those are meant also for drainage. So you don't want to fill those types of things in. Anything that has a moving part should not be caulked. That's one of the key things. If it moves, you don't want to be putting a caulk on it. I've heard of people who have caulked windows to seal out drafts, but they have now created a fire safety hazard because they've now caulked themselves into their space. So don't do that. If it moves, make sure that you are not creating a hazard for yourself. When you are done your caulking project, people always say, what do I do with the leftover caulk? You've done that one tub, and 3 weeks, 4 weeks later, you'll have time to get the other one done. Get an electrical cap. It's the perfect finish for your caulk. Blue electrical cap wraps right on. It is a lifesaver. You'll be very grateful that you have one of those. And store them not in a garage. Gets too hot, too cold. Put them in the basement in the utility closet. Now, if you have more questions, you want to learn more about caulking projects, head on over to the YouTube channel. There's tons of videos. And remember, you got a question? Find me at DIYHIPChicks.com. Remember, doing it yourself doesn't mean doing it alone.